just one of the reasons why I left America.
The 10 most dangerous foods that cause cancer. 1. Highly processed foods. Ultra-processed foods like fast food, microwave meals, and packaged snacks often contain additives, preservatives, and artificial ingredients that may contribute to cancer risk over time. 2. Processed snacks. Snack foods like chips, crackers, and cookies often contain trans fats, artificial flavors, and preservatives that may contribute to cancer risk. 3. Charred meats. Cooking meats at high temperatures, such as grilling or charbroiling, can lead to the formation of heterocyclic amines, HCAs, and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, PAHs, which are carcinogenic compounds. 4. Processed meats, such as bacon, sausage, hot dogs, and deli meats, contain preservatives like nitrates and nitrites, which have been linked to an increased risk of colorectal cancer. 5. Fried foods. Regularly eating fried foods, especially those deep-fried at high temperatures, can lead to the formation of carcinogenic compounds like acrylamide. 6. Red meat. Consuming large amounts of red meat, particularly beef, pork, and lamb, has been associated with a higher risk of colorectal cancer.
French bread, toast, buns, brioche, and etc. The bread isn't what you think it is, aka the yoga mat conspiracy. Some fast food buns and breads were found to contain azotocarbonamide, a chemical also used in yoga mats and shoe soles. And no, that's not a joke. This isn't wheat meets warrior pose. It's chemical weirdness. It's a flour bleaching agent that also makes bread more elastic and fluffy. Sounds innocent until you realize it's banned in Europe and linked to respiratory issues in workers. Subway was publicly roasted in 2014 for using it in their bread. After enough public pressure, and likely some carb shame, they removed it. That $5 footlong might have been part Pilates mat the whole time, so much for eating fresh. Popeyes, KFC, Church's, and other general store chicken is basically inflated with salt water. You think you're buying a nice plump chicken breast, but what you're actually getting is a juicy balloon of salt water and additives. It's called plumping. Processors inject chicken with a solution of water, salt, and sometimes natural flavorings. There's that shady label again, making the chicken heavier, so you pay more per pound for water. They're upselling hydration. Your dinner has a better water retention rate than your gym socks. Packages can still say 100% natural. Why? Because technically, salt water is natural. So is lava. Doesn't mean you should eat it, KFC. More like Kentucky Fried Crap, fruit juice, or diabetes disguised as a health drink. That heart-healthy bottle of orange juice. It might have more sugar than a can of Coke. Seriously. Most commercial fruit juice is stripped of fiber and pumped full of flavor packs to standardize taste. Even 100% juice can spike your blood sugar faster than you can say vitamin C. Juice companies market it as a health product for kids. It's fruit, right? Technically, yes. But so is Starburst. And while we are on the topic of fruit, ever wonder why supermarket apples look like they've been buffed by angels? That shiny glow isn't natural. It's wax. Not the candle kind, though close. Apples are coated in wax to prevent moisture loss and extend shelf life. Totally legal. But the wax can contain shellac from insects or petroleum byproducts. They're often coated after being scrubbed clean of their original natural wax layer. So it's not just waxed, it's stripped and re-waxed, like a car or a midlife crisis. Good luck digesting that with your apple pie. Forbidden fruit indeed. Here is another fishy business conspiracy that might leave a bad smell. you're probably not eating the fish you ordered. When you order red snapper, there's a pretty high chance it's not red snapper. It might be tilapia, or something else from the deep that sounds like an Elden Ring boss. Oceana's 2019 report found 1 in 5 seafood samples were mislabeled, sushi restaurants were the biggest offenders, and snapper was mislabeled 90% of the time. Yikes. Seafood fraud is big business. Cheap fish sold as expensive fish, like getting a Rolex from a vending machine, but with fins. You pay more, eat mystery fish, and possibly consume species with high mercury or illegal sourcing. Suddenly Finding Nemo seems to be a true story, 'cause finding the fish you want might not be so much of a happy ending. The next conspiracy might sound cheesy, but they can't shred the truth. Parmesan cheese isn't all Parmesan. The FDA once found that some grated Parmesan products were up to 8% cellulose, aka wood pulp. That's right, you've been sprinkling tree dust on your pasta. Cellulose is a cheap anti-clumping agent. Technically safe, but you weren't expecting sawdust in your spaghetti, were you? Castle Cheese Inc. literally sold fake Parmesan for years. Their cheese was a mixture of cheaper cheeses, plus filler, plus lies. If it comes in a green tube, it might be more lumberjack than Italian grandma, but the saying being one with nature suddenly sounds gut-wrenchingly disturbing. I guess the woodchuck finally could chuck wood right into your pasta plate. No thank you. So the next time you're sipping natural fruit juice, chewing real Parmesan, or grilling that suspiciously plump chicken breast, remember, you're not paranoid if they're actually putting wood pulp in your food. These conspiracies prove that the food world can be equal parts science lab, marketing circus, and crime scene. Again, I'd like to thank everyone once more for the support. Please continue to like, share, and follow for more related videos, and don't be embarrassed to comment your thoughts and opinions on other similar topics and conspiracies. I am here to spread awareness and truth, and with your help, we can spread it to more people. This is only for entertainment purposes, and none of this was real. Wink, wink. I am not real. We are not real. We are just figments of people's imagination. Or are we?
The truth about the food industry. Get ready because this is about to get crazy and watch till the end. You may not realize it, but the ultimate political control is around our food and whether it delivers health or not. And many studies have now shown that the root cause of the world's most common illnesses is, you guessed it, our food. So sometime around the 1980s, something happened that made illnesses just skyrocket altogether all at once. Also around the 1980s is when the world started using chemical fertilizers in their food, specifically GMO crops. Most used fertilizer was Roundup, and its active ingredient glyphosate was actually proven to cause cancer. This is because glyphosate literally blocks the 9 essential amino acids that our body desperately needs. That our body literally can't make on its own, we can only get them from plants. That fertilizer is literally stopping the plants from making them. So avoid GMOs and eat organic foods only. Things like Cheerios and Doritos have a high amount of glyphosate, and all these brands. Basically either grow your own food or just look for these symbols.
Dangerous foods that may cause cancer. Number 1, fried foods. Fried foods can contain acrylamide, a chemical formed in starchy foods at high temperatures, which is classified as a probable human carcinogen. 2, refined carbohydrates and sugars. Diets high in refined carbs and sugars, such as white bread and sugary cereals, can lead to obesity and insulin resistance. These foods cause rapid spikes in blood sugar and insulin levels, promoting cancer cell growth. Number 3, salty and pickled foods. High salt intake is linked to stomach cancer. Salty foods, including pickled vegetables and salted fish, can damage the stomach lining and increase the risk of Helicobacter pylori infection, a known risk factor for stomach cancer. 4, processed meats. Processed meats like bacon, sausages, hot dogs, and deli meats are preserved through smoking, curing, salting, or chemical preservatives. These methods introduce harmful compounds, such as nitrates and nitrites, which can form carcinogenic nitroso compounds. Number 5, red meat, beef, pork, and lamb are associated with an increased risk of colorectal cancer. 6, sugary drinks and foods. High sugar intake contributes to obesity, a significant risk factor for cancers like pancreatic and esophageal cancer. 7, alcohol. Alcohol is a known risk factor for cancers of the mouth, throat, esophagus, liver, and colorectal regions. Follow me to optimize your health.
Chick-fil-A, McDonald's, Taco Bell, and Burger King are among the restaurants who've been found to have food packaging that contains cancer-causing forever chemicals called PFAS.
There are hundreds of known compounds, each with varying uses in our daily lives. PFAS compounds don't occur in nature, and it takes a significantly longer time for these compounds to break down in the environment and in the human body. The CDC's Agency for Toxic Substances and Disease Registry says PFAS contamination has the potential to affect growth, learning, and behavior of infants and older children. It could lower a woman's chance of getting pregnant, and it could...
PFAS have been linked to cancer, immune issues, liver damage, and many other things. Forever chemicals do not naturally break down, and they end up in the food and the water supply. Several of the restaurants have been committed to getting rid of the packaging by the end of 2021. Chick-fil-A says it'll be done with it by the end of summer of 2022. McDonald's and Taco Bell not until 2025.
This ain't what you want. Project X. This ain't what you want. This ain't what you want. Ha! 16 on the block. I just wanna rock. I just wanna
Your mac and cheese was just found to have cancer-causing chemicals in it. A study was just done where researchers looked at 30 different powdered cheese products and found that 29 out of the 30 all had phthalate. These are industrial chemicals that are used in things like glue and plastic and are never meant to be in your children's food. We're talking about inflammation to the level of cancer and in children, brain development issues. When we use words like ADHD and anxiety and that kid has no discipline, it's rooted inflammation in the brain caused by garbage food. So take this as a warning to not only pay attention to your mac and cheese, but all packaged and boxed foods. How are they processed? Why are these chemicals entering our food? Go natural, go clean, farm to fork. If it's not plucked from the ground or cut with a knife, don't eat it.
The government of Japan has said that Frosted Flakes, Rice Krispies, Wheat Thins, Honey Bunches of Oats are all causing people cancer, and they will not allow these American foods into their country anymore. They have a potent toxin in them called BHT, butylated hydrotoluene. This chemical is a flavor enhancer that is meant to make these processed foods actually tolerable when you eat them. But Japan has a different idea. Why don't we just use real food that actually tastes good? So while countries around the world ban American foods because of how cancer-causing they are, we can still get them in our stores. Be careful. Look for the letters BHT on the side of the box. If you see it, put it back on the shelf. Do not buy these foods.
New York City residents, your water is nuclear, as in radioactive. The Indian Point power plant was shut down recently, which is located in Westchester County. And we all know that these plants put a lot of nuclear wastewater into the water without permission or without the public's knowledge. But this time they are actually informing us that they are planning to dump at least 1 million gallons of radioactive water into the Hudson River starting as early as July of 2023. Radioactive material is a carcinogen, which causes cancer, and it causes cell mutation and other dis-ease throughout the body. So you must learn to open up your detox pathways, and at the very least, be prepared to detox heavy metals on a daily basis. So at the very least, you want to start throwing a bunch of cilantro into smoothies every day, and try throwing some wild blueberries into a smoothie or on top of your oatmeal in the day. These two foods are known to remove heavy metals, especially nuclear waste heavy metals. But if you are ready to detox your full body and learn exactly the steps to detox heavy metals and radioactive exposure, comment detox for information on my full body cleanse. Because remember, baby, your health is your wealth, and we all deserve to be rich.
About this chemical, what exactly is it and how does it affect our bodies?
Well, this chemical is called azodicarbonamide, and you'll find it in a lot of breads in the U.S. And Canada, but not the rest of the world. Actually, the rest of the world either bans it or will put you in prison or fine you $500,000 for using it. That's because there's the chemical, when heated, it actually degrades down into a compound that is carcinogenic, and the World Health Organization has deemed it an asthmatic trigger. It causes lung issues in workers who handle it, skin irritation, eye irritation. So this is a very dangerous chemical that's being used in our bread.
So this isn't just about the, I know a lot of people are going to get mad at me, the scam that is organic or natural. This isn't about that, right? Because
no, actually organic breads are not allowed to have this chemical.
Okay, because people talk about organic and natural and all that, and there's nothing wrong with science. That's what pasteurization, that's science, that helps. So every chemical in your food isn't necessarily a bad chemical, but you said this one in particular is, and it should not be in there.
That's right. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to know that you shouldn't eat plastic. This is a chemical that improves the elasticity of bread. It's just for appearances, really, and really to line the bottom line of the pockets of these big food industry giants like Subway. I mean, they were using this chemical because it was cheaper for them to produce the bread faster. So it's just a great thing that they've decided to finally decide to take this ingredient out after me writing about it for over 2 years.
All right. Well, Van, is it just about bread? What else? Again, many other foods, right?
That's right. It's in McDonald's, Wendy's, Arby's. It's in Thomas's English Bagels. It's in Sara Lee. It's all over the place. And really, the FDA should look at completely eliminating this ingredient from our food supply.
So then why would it, I mean, we were talking again, you said there are carcinogens in this food. Obviously, Subway is removing it. You said it's in different things. So then why does the FDA then say it's fine? Because it's used in foods all over the U.S.
Yeah, you know, unfortunately, the FDA isn't really regulating our food, and it's definitely not regulating this specific chemical. Actually, they have no studies on file as far as how this chemical affects humans. So I don't see how they can approve these chemicals for use in our food supply without any studies. And it's really sad that these type of ingredients go unregulated, but the food industry is in the pockets of the FDA, and that's probably why.
Let me tell you, everything is, you should have eaten that yoga mat with a little ketchup, or if you do a little steak sauce and soy sauce and mix it together, then everything tastes better. So I'm having a little fun with it.
Our government is letting U.S. food companies get away with serving American citizens harmful ingredients that are banned or heavily regulated in other countries. Even worse, American food companies are selling the same exact products overseas without these chemicals, but choose to continue serving us the most toxic version here. It's un-American. Let me give you some examples of McDonald's French fries. In the US, there's 11 ingredients. In the UK, there's 3, and salt is optional. An ingredient called dimethylpolysiloxane is an ingredient preserved with formaldehyde, a neurotoxin, in the US version. This is used as a foaming agent so they don't have to replace the oil that often, making McDonald's more money here in the United States. But they don't do that across the pond. This is Skittles. Notice the long list of ingredient differences. 10 artificial dyes in the US version and titanium dioxide. This ingredient is banned in Europe because it can cause DNA damage. Artificial dyes are made from petroleum, and products containing these dyes require a warning label in Europe that states it may cause adverse effects on activity and detention in children. And they have been linked to cancer and disruptions in the immune system. This on the screen back here is Gatorade. In the US, they use red 40 and caramel color. In Germany, they don't. They use carrot and sweet potatoes to color their Gatorade. General Mills is definitely playing some tricks on us. They launched a new version of Trix just recently in Australia. It has no dyes. They even advertise that, when the US version still does. This is why I became a food activist. My name is Vani Hari, and I only want one thing. I want Americans to be treated the same way as citizens in other countries by our own American companies. In the last 60 years, almost all food additives were being created for one sole purpose: to improve the bottom line of the food industry and not improve our health. These chemicals were created to mimic real food, to make it easier and cheaper for food manufacturers to preserve their food, to make it last longer on the shelf, to help manufacturing, and sinister of all, to allow them to create products that are more addictive in nature. I ended up quitting my lifelong career as a corporate management consultant to investigate and write about food full-time. During my investigations, I found an alarming discovery. We use over 10,000 food additives here in the United States, and in Europe, there's only 400 approved. We were able to get Subway to remove azodicarbonamide from their bread in the United States after another successful petition. And as a bonus, there was a ripple effect, and almost every bread manufacturer in America followed suit. I want to make an important point here. Ordinary people who rallied for safer food, shared this information, and signed petitions were able to make these changes. We did this on our own. But isn't this something that the people in Washington, our elected politicians, should be doing? We deserve the same safer ingredients other countries get. We cannot allow our own American companies to treat us this way anymore. We've had enough. It's unethical, and it needs to stop.
Why is the U.S. government subsidizing the most pesticide-sprayed crops using taxpayer dollars? These are the exact foods that are driving the epidemic of chronic disease. Glyphosate is classified as a carcinogen by the World Health Organization's International Agency for Research on Cancer. They're finding glyphosate in human breast milk, placentas, our organs, and even sperm. Parents in America are unknowingly feeding their children these toxic foods. We must stop subsidizing the foods that make us sick. We must prioritize people over profit.
As Courtney talks about there, glyphosate, this chemical found in Roundup pesticide, is banned in so many other countries. In fact, the CDC has labeled it a carcinogen. It causes cancer. And there are large Western cities like Los Angeles, Seattle, Miami, Baltimore, Austin that have restricted or banned glyphosate altogether, yet federally it's being subsidized. And can you believe that your taxpayer dollars are actually going towards supporting these companies that are harming our kids? Banning glyphosate is a no-brainer for the American people, and the fact that this has become a political issue at all makes no sense.
We had a representative from Bayer Monsanto on the program earlier today. Now, the World Health Organization's IARC says glyphosate is probably carcinogenic to humans. Here's the Bayer rep, though, defending its safety.
First of all, the WHO IARC subcommittee, it's not a regulatory authority. They don't even do any of their own studies. So the EPA and several other leading global regulatory authorities around the world who do actually look at data require us to conduct very specific studies. They are the ones that control what we can say on the label, and that's the law. Those are nobody else in the world, as far as leading regulatory authorities, have found any linkage to cancer.
I know you believe that glyphosate is a very harmful chemical. She maintains that it's safe. What's with all this conflicting information?
Well, 60% of Americans' diet come from one of these genetically engineered seeds that are designed to withstand heavy doses of this chemical. That's 60% of Americans' diet, okay? And we know that this is causing cancer based on court cases across the United States. But you have Bayer, who is defending the EPA, who is historically has been riddled with conflicts of interest. There's been documentation shown that Monsanto, who was the previous owner that Bayer bought, that started Roundup, was actually colluding with the EPA to prevent real science from getting out to the American public about the dangers of this chemical.
A federal court unsealed documents in a mass litigation lawsuit Tuesday, raising new questions not only about Roundup's safety, but also about Monsanto's research practices. This one reveals a close relationship between Monsanto executives and a former EPA director, Jess Rowland. Plaintiffs say he worked with Monsanto to suppress studies of the product's main ingredient, glyphosate. I doubt EPA and Jess can kill this, a Monsanto executive wrote, but it's good to know they are going to actually make the effort. In another email, a Monsanto executive suggested the company ghostwrite a positive report on glyphosate and get experts to back it up, saying they would just edit and sign their names.
So this is what the Make America Healthy Again movement's about and what RFK Jr. is doing in Washington. He's trying to get rid of the conflicts of interest and special interests, especially in the FDA. With Dr. Marty Makary taking the reins at the FDA, we're going to be looking at specific things that we can do to eliminate our exposure to these chemicals.
Welcome back to Conspiracy Junkie. Today I have quite a treat for you. Be warned, after this video, you might want to put away the snack or food you are eating, because this isn't paranoia. This is your plate. Here are 7 real food conspiracies that are nastier than you ever imagined. You've probably seen the term natural flavors on food labels. What they don't tell you is that some of those flavorings are developed using HEK293, a cell line derived from aborted human fetal kidney cells. These cells aren't in the food itself, but they're used in testing, development, and flavor enhancement. Companies aren't required to tell you. It's legally hidden, and the flavoring industry calls it innovation. You could be enjoying the taste of cola or natural meat flavor, enhanced using human cells from an unborn child. You just didn't know it. Sounds yummy, doesn't it? Think your burger is from one cow? Think again. Fast food ground beef is often a genetic soup of 100+ cows from different countries, mixed in a giant vat. Diseased meat, expired cuts, and slaughterhouse scraps, all tossed together, flash frozen, and sold by the millions. And if one cow is contaminated with E. coli, it infects the entire batch and spreads across continents. That drive-through burger may be stitched together like a Frankenstein creature, and you're swallowing the consequences with every bite. I think I might need to go vegan or stick with chicken. Then again, what is in the chicken? Thought we were done with natural flavoring. Here is another mouthful. One of the most disturbing secrets hiding in plain sight. Castoreum, a natural flavoring, often used to mimic vanilla, raspberry, or strawberry, is sourced from the anal secretions of beavers. Yes, their anal glands. It's FDA approved, it's in candies, drinks, and even baked goods. And it's called natural. You might have eaten a beaver's behind and never even tasted the lye. Trick or treat, anybody? Industrial dairy cows are often sick. They're overmilked, infected, and kept in horrific conditions. One of the most common diseases, mastitis, a painful udder infection that leads to blood and pus being released into the milk supply. Guess what? The FDA allows it. They call it somatic cell count. There's a legal limit for how much blood and pus can be in your milk, and as long as it stays under that limit, it's sold in stores. That glass of milk you drink for health might contain the suffering of a dying animal, and the fluids to prove it. Vitamin C, more like vitamin A, for absolutely disgusting. Microplastics have been found in bottled water, table salt, fish, shellfish, beer, and even human blood. That's right, you already have plastic inside of you. It's in your organs, your gut, maybe even your brain. Where's it coming from? Food packaging, bottled drinks, contaminated ocean life. And we have no idea what long-term exposure really does. You're not just what you eat, you're what you absorb, and the food system is slowly turning us into plastic. And let's not forget all the fake foods and fruits being created for a more cost-efficient outcome. So let's keep recycling so we don't run out of food. Bread with a side of cancer, anybody? American bread often contains potassium bromate, a chemical banned in over 100 countries because it's linked to cancer. But not in the US. It's used to make bread puffier, whiter, and fresher. The FDA has known the risks for decades. California is now trying to ban it. But corporations are still fighting back. You could be eating a sandwich that's literally illegal in Europe, but sold in every US grocery store. Now I understand the term "it's absolutely to die for." Well, not me. I pass. In the 1960s, the sugar industry paid off Harvard scientists to publish research blaming fat for heart disease instead of sugar. This lie reshaped decades of health advice, school lunches, and government food pyramids. It made Big Sugar billions, and it made America the most obese country in the world. Our health was sold out for profit, and most people still believe the lie. Must be sweet getting rich off of others' suffering. But I'm not here to sugarcoat the truth from you, however they are. We all heard the saying, "You are what you eat." They say it like a joke. But what if it's not? What if your food is toxic, deceptive, even dangerous, and the people in power are letting it happen? These aren't theories. These are facts twisted into shadows. So the next time you eat or drink something, just know what you are really consuming. Think about it. If you get sick, you go to the doctor for a checkup, money for the doctor, and the insurance. You got diagnosed with something, and now they prescribe you drugs. Pharmaceutical companies get a check. Everything is linked together at the end of the day, and we are just test subjects. Share this with loved ones, friends, and family for the truth. Like and follow for more truths and conspiracies. This is just for entertainment purposes, and none of this is real. I'm not real. You're not real. We are just a figment of people's imagination. Or are we?